Good evening, everyone. The date today is January 9th. Today is Monday, 5:30 p.m. is the time. This is the meeting of the Paris City Council, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. We will start with the meeting with the invocation by Mr. Anderson, followed by Pledge of Allegiance from Ms. Lancaster. If I can have everyone please stand.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings upon our nation, our state, and our city. And Father, we pray for your guidance to our council members tonight, Father, as they have many important decisions to make, Father, that will affect the city for many years to come. We just ask that you give them wisdom and understanding. And Father, we just, again, thank you for allowing us to live in this country. And we ask all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personnel appeals, are inappropriate for the Citizens Forum. If the Citizens Forum is now open, if you want to address the council, please come forward and write your name and address for the record. If there is nobody wanting to address, nobody addressing? No? If there's nobody wanting to address the council, the Citizens Forum is now closed. We'll go to the next agenda item, which is the consent agenda. Any of the council members have any questions or issues with the consent agenda? Ms. Drake?
No.
Mr. Frierson?
Sir.
Yes? No? Dr. Clifford?
No, sir.
Mr. Trinado?
No, sir.
Mr. Jenkins?
No, sir.
Mrs. Lancaster?
No, sir.
I'll take a motion on this item.
Make a motion to
Second.
accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. We next move on to the regular agenda item. The next presentation is by me, which is receive a presentation from myself about a Street of Dreams, discuss creation of a neighborhood empowerment zone, and provide directions to the staff. If I can have the first slide. I do want to thank Mr. Skipper Steely on this, because he had to do quite a bit of work on pulling out some of the, that's not the Street of Dreams.
We hope not.
He had to do quite a bit of work to pull out some of the old pictures, and I'll start the presentation and then we'll discuss. In its true tradition, the idea of Street of Dreams is that of a luxury home and garden tour in the United States. Traditionally, the mission is to serve the community by organizing and producing the most luxury home tour imaginable by effectively showcasing our participants in their endeavors of either new homes or remodeling of homes. Usually speaking, this is a summertime event showcasing newest trends and innovative ideas of luxury home buildings, architecture, interior designing, and landscaping. People are then invited for a tour of the Street of Dreams and encouraged to vote on each home in categories of best design, best kitchens, and best landscape. We in Paris are blessed with some beautiful old homes with a lot of history, particularly on some streets. Unfortunately, as time has gone by, these streets have deserted looks with dilapidated homes, unkempt yards, and a lot of junk left in the front yards of our homes. It is sometimes easy to demolish these homes and move on. However, it takes away from the history of the street, the homes, their unique architecture, and the lives of so many important people who lived in this town and contributed to the development and well-being of this town. What I want to present and organize today is a modified idea of the Street of Dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, the city is spending an enormous amount of money on the infrastructure of multiple streets, but one of these streets in this town has new water, new sewer lines, new sidewalks, and newly paved road. It's not done yet. This happens to be one of the most traveled streets in town, and the project is going and taking shape and is expected to finish in the summer of 2017. The street that I'm talking about is Pine Bluff. At one point in the history of Paris, this street was one of the prettiest streets in town with the loveliest looking homes on it. Currently and unfortunately, it has an enormous number of homes that have either become dilapidated, uninhabited, or just unkempt. Some of the pictures which one can see back from, which Mr. Steele has pulled, shows some of the homes that used to be on this street. While the city spends this large amount of money on repairing the streets, we as residents of the community can possibly help by at least clearing up our yards and making our homes look better without expending a lot of money. I want to propose tonight the idea of the modified Street of Dreams, and what the idea involves is the following. On Pine Bluff Street, we organize a rejuvenation project where the city helps the residents in bringing the old glory back by assisting residents of that area. We assist the residents of the area by doing the following things. Number one, easy deliverability of permits for renovations, waiving off the permitting fees for those who want to improve their homes in that area, offer our home loan improvement program through the banks that is already in place, and just so that people are reminded, there's a $5,000 loan available from the banks. The city they have to apply through the city, but that loan is available. In the previous years, that has been used very well, and we'd encourage people to use. Number 4, strict code enforcement. Number 5, cleanup of city-owned properties on the street and maintaining them. And number 6, give tax abatement, which actually already exists, on improvement that are made, and inform our local residents and assist them in obtaining these tax credits. While the city takes these steps, the residents of the street participate and organize a showcase of home by those wishing to participate in the Street of Dreams idea. By Thanksgiving time of 2017, we clean up our homes, our yards, and redo whatever we can to make the street and our homes look pretty. Subsequently, we can participate in a contest where the best yard, the most cleanup, and the best renovations all are awarded. Homes will be open for tours by the homeowners who wish to participate. An award of $5,000 is being donated by a generous donor for the home that gets the most votes based on criteria which will be set forth by the organizing committee. Now the question comes as to why this street was chosen and others not. The answer to that is most certainly other streets can be chosen. However, this street was chosen because it's a very well-traveled street, and it would make a visible difference in our town because of all the traffic that it gets. 2, the city is already spending a lot of money on improvement, and this could become a pilot project for other streets. The project is coming to a completion in the near future, and at one time this was a glorious street. It really has a lot of homes that require improvement, as I said before. Now, I want to thank Mr. Pickle on behalf of KPB, who I've talked to, and KPB is going to give $5,000 with an additional $5,000 donation to it, and that means what they're planning to do is to have about $10,000. 20 homes on that street can apply for a $500 landscape project. They'll obviously have to submit the bills and whatever money they have spent, and KPB will reimburse them up to $500. Obviously on a first-come, first basis. It will be for landscaping of the homes which are on that street. Number 2, we have a $5,000 award which will be given to which the criteria will be set, and I've asked Mr. Pickle and Mr. Skipper Steele. Skipper Steele knows a lot about this town from before. KBB is donating money, so them and I think the city attorney probably, because there are no female members otherwise in it, to be the judges for for the $5,000 award, whoever gets it. There are a couple of things that I do want to mention, and that is number 1, I'm renovating a home on that street. Not that I had plans to live there. I'm still in District 7, and that's where I'm going to stay. But the home that I'm renovating will be excluded, so it will not be a participant. It will be open to the tours, but the award will not be that, and the permitting fees I will pay, so that it doesn't appear that we are writing it off for that reason. So the place where I'm doing the renovations, that will be excluded from that. And so what I'm asking the council today is to allow and give directions to the city manager, and I think all of you have received it in your packet, what the suggestions are to allow waiving of the renovation fees or renovation or permitting fees, and the remainder of the things, which is the tax abatement and the home loan improvement, already exists, so we really don't have to do anything about it. We just have to kind of publicize a little bit more so that people can use it. And again, I want to thank KPB and Mr. Pickle and Skipper Steely for helping me out with this. So any questions from the council? Ms. Drake?
Besides publicizing it in the newspaper, are we going to try to find out who actually, because I know that's a lot of rental property on that street. Are we going to try to find out who actually owns the property and mail them information so that they are aware of all of this that is available?
Actually, I have walked the street and I'm going to do some further walking. Interestingly, ever since I started cleaning up the one that I have, multiple people have started cleaning up, and 5 of the homes are actually sold. The ones which were dilapidated homes, 4 other buyers have come and bought property, and most of those are the dilapidated homes that have been sold already, and they are planning to renovate those homes. Then I think there is some other property which Mr. Pounders has, which might be coming up so on the tax sale.
Okay.
But once we have discussed this, then what I plan to do is to walk from North Main all the way to 20th Street and leave some brochures to people that what are their choices and what do they want to do and whether they want to participate or not participate, and the tax abatements, etc., which are available.
And I understand that, but I just wanted to make sure that the owners, the people that actually own the property, get this information, because a lot of times if you give it to the renters, it's just going to go in the trash and the owner won't get it.
There are about, I think, 5 places which are being rented out, or 5 or 6 places, but others are
homeowners.
Okay.
Yeah.
And me and Mr. Godwin were planning that once the street becomes a little halfway decent, we are going to walk over and try to give the brochures to people that what is being planned.
Okay, that was all I had.
Mr. Frierson?
No real questions for me. Thank you.
Dr. Clifford?
I think it's an interesting idea. On your screen's the house I grew up in fact, 1202. We planted those pine trees. They were about that tall, but the landscaping could use some improvement certainly around that house. But I think give it a try. See how people respond and see if people take pride in that street.
Mr. Tornado?
I think it's a great idea, and if we get it going there, get it in other places down, then it's really great.
Mr. Jenkins?
I like the idea, plus it's in my district.
Ms. Lancaster?
I think it's a great step in the right direction. I'd like to see something like that in my district too. And later on, I'm going to speak about some problems in my district. But I think it's a lovely idea.
And I think the city will save some money because at least some of 3 or 4 homes, and those homes are already bought by people now, they would have come up for demolition, and we would have had to spend about $2,500 of our money to do that. So I'd like to make a motion that we give directions to the city staff to create the district that they are asking to do so that this can proceed further.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next is because of a little sickness of some person, if you don't mind, I'd like to move item number 20 to the next item.
I make a motion, we move it up.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So item number 20 was put in by me, discuss drainage issue located at 3915 Shannon Drive and provide direction to the city staff. This actually happens to be in my district, and the issue with this specific property is the following, that when the neighbors built their home, the home was built much higher than this home, with the result that there is constantly water coming and draining into this property. Now, the city was not wrong in not enforcing a code because there wasn't a code to say how high the neighbor could build the home. So the city is not completely at fault, but the thing is, whoever was checking things at that point really did not pay much attention of what is going to happen to the neighbors once one home is built much higher compared to the others. And this is kind of the same situation as what we had in Mr. John Wright's district at Ms. Karkoff's home, where water would constantly drain. Now, the issue that comes up is that the city is not required to fix private property. And so it becomes a sticky matter. And I think the city has attempted within their reach and within their bounds of what they could do. But I wanted to put it on the agenda just like Mr. Wright did. And the city ended up fixing so that Ms. Karkoff's place, so that it was not completely drowning in water or flooding in water every time. So I'd like to ask the council on how the council wants to proceed. I'll ask Mr. Godwin to give a brief presentation of what he wants to suggest, and then we'll take an opinion from the council as to what the council wants to do. Do we help this resident and fix this issue so that the water doesn't keep draining into her property or his property? Or does the council want to take a strict approach on this and say that it's private property and we are not going to spend any money on it? So that's why it's on the agenda.
I don't think I have anything new to add. You were very thorough, so I'll just be quiet unless you have a question.
All right.
Has this homeowner attempted to do some things on?
They have. They've done a lot of stuff over the years. This goes back like 30 years. And we did some work out there about a year ago, I guess, and so we've tried to make it better. You run into constitutional issues when you're on private property. That's always our fear. The city attorney can address that better than me, but that's always our concern is constitutional issues. Same thing with Ms. Karkoff. We did completely fix everything out there. She's still not happy with us, but that's okay. But we did some work out there too. Just sometimes it just seems like the right thing to do something. And of course, you have to worry about do you start a chain where,
yeah,
everybody wants something. So.
Do we know what it would cost or what would need to be done to correct this problem?
I don't. Jerry, I don't think you have any price on anything specific at this point, do you?
I think we really refrained from doing it because we didn't know what direction the council wants to take on it before we ask anyone to price it out.
Okay.
So, but I wanted to get a general feel. If the council feels that yes, maybe we should look into it, then maybe we can have them see what the pricing is. But if the council is completely opposed to doing it, there's no point in asking them to look for pricing. So, Mr. Frierson?
I'd like to hear from the city attorney on.
Well, you do have to be very careful. It's unconstitutional to expend public funds for the benefit of a private person. I'm not sure how they did that in the prior instance. That was before my time. But, I mean, if you can find a public purpose, and there may well be a public purpose that would allow us to do that constitutionally. I don't know enough about the specifics to know.
I mean, for me, it's between a rock and a hard place, but if you're telling me unconstitutional, that's pretty strong.
Well, I mean, you can't,
I know.
we couldn't give this property owner the money to fix it or
Right.
just do something that only was to the benefit of that property owner. If it benefited other people and we could formulate a public purpose to do that, then that would not be unconstitutional. I hope I answered your question.
You did. Thank you.
And in this case, I think there are at least two property owners who would benefit, not just the one. One more than the other, but certainly there would be two.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Also, so you were saying if this had been, the codes weren't in existence, but had the codes been in existence, this problem wouldn't exist?
Yeah, we have a lot of issues with, for years, codes were not adopted or codes were not enforced. And so we've inherited a lot of problems with drainage and with construction of how streets were built, how water lines were built, sewer lines were built, and so forth and so on. And not to get off subject, but now that we're trying to hold people accountable to the code, they're not used to that, and they all hate us, and come back, coming to you guys and bothering you. But yeah, the city back 30 years ago let a lot of stuff go, or they never did adopt the codes, or whatever the case may be. But This should not happen. It was, you build a house and years later somebody can build a house up here. The city's not legally liable for that, but it is wrong to let that happen.
Anything else, Dr. Tifford?
Nothing else.
Mr. Trinado?
Well, if it's constitutional and we can do it, I'd like to come back with a cost on this.
Mr. Jenkins?
I kind of agree with it also. If we can help them out, we'd like to look at it a little bit farther.
Ms. Lancaster?
I'd like to look at the cost of it and how it could benefit, as they said, more than one person. Then I think I would be for it.
Am I getting a general consensus that ask the lawyer to get a proper opinion and have a decided opinion once he has studied it, whether it can be done or not, number one? And number one, if it can be done, for the city to come back with a cost and then discuss it?
Sounds good.
Everyone more or less in agreement?
Yeah, I think it goes back to, since we didn't do anything for so many years, when now we're inheriting a huge drainage problem, that it might be part of our problem.
So, correct me if I'm saying it wrong. So the direction is for the city attorney to study the subject and say that, make sure that it is not unconstitutional, number one, and then to come up with pricing and bring the issue back to the council. All right.
And some of my opinion is going to be, my opinion will be based on what the law is, but what the specific fact situation is, and apply the law to that situation.
So we'll table this item till you get all the information back to us, and we'll put it back on the agenda as soon as you have the information. Okay. Item number 13. Is there anybody else who wants me to move any item who's in a rush to leave? If they're not, then I'll continue with because I see some nurses over here. Are you in a rush to leave? Yes. Okay.
Can I?
Yeah,
am I
sure.
included in that?
Please, absolutely.
No, I'm just kind of in a rush to leave. So
We'll make the presentation
Football
short.
game at 7 o'clock.
All right. So what item number is theirs? Let me just
13.
see. Okay.
Oh, that one I don't know.
What is that item number? Let's bring that up. 25, okay. Item number 25, discuss and act on administering kennel cough vaccination to dogs at the animal shelter. I'd like to move this item up. I'll make the motion to move it up. All in favor?
Aye.
The item is moving up. All right. Okay. Now remember, if you want Mr. Frierson's vote, it better be short because otherwise you're getting a no.
Here's what we're here to talk about. All of us are members of Lamar County Humane Association. And what we're proposing is absolutely no cost to the city. The issue that we're having is animals come into the shelter. If an animal is picked up by the ACO, the animal control officer, it comes into the shelter, it's on a 72-hour stray hold. While this animal is on the stray hold, the shelter doesn't have ownership of the animal, so therefore we don't have the legal authority to give any kind of vaccinations or anything to the animal. Once the 72-hour stray hold is up, that becomes a moot point. The issue that we are having is we're working a great deal with rescues and also people locally who adopt the animals. Dogs that have never had vaccines in their life come into the shelter. It's just like when you send a kid to daycare, all these animals get kennel cough, which is doggy flu, doggy head cold. What we are wanting to do, and we had spoken to Mr. Hunley, there is a change that can be made in the ordinance where it can allow the Humane Association to vaccinate these animals when they come in for kennel cough. And we have people who are willing to donate the money to provide the vaccines, provided that we can get the police department and the city council to make whatever changes necessary to allow us to do that.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything else?
You might say that you euthanize a dog when it gets kennel cough.
Yes, right now, if a dog gets kennel cough, and kennel cough is a very curable disease. I mean, it's very curable. I mean,
it's not a death sentence.
No, I mean, we would hate if we euthanize people when they got a head cold, we'd probably have half of this room euthanized right now. So,
As it is, that's the illegal control.
so if we can do this, it's going to perfectly good dogs that would make people good pets. we're losing because of this.
Mr. Hundley, you have anything to say?
Actually, Keith and I have been talking about this for the last month, I guess, or something like that. We've been researching some other cities, Amarillo, Montgomery County, Cleburne, and some other places that have ordinances that provide for temporary ownership that would make this legal. So we've got the information. We'll be probably presenting it next time.
Okay, thank you.
Not a big deal for us at all.
In the interest of time, do any of the council members have any objection to it? Okay. We'll give, it's not a motion item, so we give direction to the city or staff to get the appropriate ordinance done, just so that you don't pick it outside our offices.
That would be Sherry.
All right.
It actually is a motion item.
Oh, it is a motion, so I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No.
Thank you.
Who is your representative? The dog.
Oh, the dog, she wants to know who our representative is.
We just saved it. Yeah, we just saved
Can
this
we-
one. His name is
can we
Boo.
see
He's
him?
12 years old.
She wants to see.
It's on her dog.
His owner died, so we lost his home. He's 12 years old.
I just,
He has about 14.
Well, I know all about old dogs. I had one that was 20.
What a sweet moment.
All right.
I need a home.
We are going to move to the next item on the agenda, receive input from citizens regarding street, parks, bonds, project, discuss, provide direction to staff. Actually, it's more of street, parks we were going to discuss, but this item was discussed on the previous council meeting, and with the drop in PJC taxes, what we were thinking was that if we can increase the city tax rate, the overall tax bill that people will get will still be less than what they're paying now, but it will almost give us about $11 million of funds to redo the city streets. Mr. Godwin had made a preliminary list of city streets and their amount that will cost. But again, since we have not decided what we are going to do, I'm going to first present this again, that to re-explain what we are wanting to do is we have about a 17-cent drop for the city taxes, or whatever that amount is.
17 or 18 for the net, the overall net.
And what we were thinking was if we were to increase the city tax rate by 5 cents, what it does is it gives us about $11 million, and that money we use towards street repairs, which are badly needed in the city. Now, all these streets which are listed obviously do not come, I think they go over $11 million, but the thing about it is that I've left that discussion for a future time that the council can sit or go to these streets and see along with Mr. Godwin and then decide what all can be done. But it is long overdue that we start fixing the streets. Some of the streets are going to be fixed, like Pine Bluff is being fixed since a lot of work is being done there, but there's still a lot of streets that require repair. Now, we can keep putting this thing on and on for further councils, but eventually at some point we'll have to bite the bullet, and instead of getting to a point like we had to do last time, that we had to have a $45 million bond to do the water and sewer infrastructure, if we can start doing it in bits and pieces, that would be great. That was one of my suggestions, and what it does is for an average individual, again, the rate may go up, but the total tax bill will go down, and I think we presented with an average home of about $67,000 that per month cost. Gene, how much does it go up? About $3 a month?
Yes.
Around about $3 a month, and that too really doesn't go up. The tax will still be, the total amount of tax paid will still be less. There are two ways of doing it. One can do a certificate of obligation for it, and the council can vote on it and decide to do it, or one can take the other route, which is put it on the ballot and ask the input of the citizens. Now, in the past, I've always favored the idea of taking the input from the citizens and putting it on the ballot and let them decide it. This time, however, the input that at least I've gotten from the number of peoples or from the email, that's all positive. Quite honestly, I've not had a single person come up and say that that should not be done. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that everybody has heard it. People have heard as much as we have said it. So there may be still some people who may not like the idea. But the thing about it is, I would again remind people that this is long overdue. The state of streets is really bad. And I would personally just favor at this point to do a certificate of obligation and authorize the city so that we can generate about $11 million and be done with it. But again, we are open to it, and that's why we had put it back on the agenda for the council members to voice their opinions once they've had some input from their residents in their community. So I'll start with Ms. Lancaster.
I've had nothing but positive results in my discussions with my district so far, and we're very much for it. We need these streets fixed.
Mr. Jenkins?
I agree, and as the city grows, you want to get the streets fixed and everything for people coming through, visiting and everything, so I agree with you.
Mr. Trinado?
I agree also. We need them fixed, and if this is the best way to do it, let's go for it.
Dr. Clifford?
I've heard no opposition to it. I think it's a good idea. Would this have to go in front 3 times, be posted 3 times as a tax increase, or would it not?
No, it's, there's a process. You have to hold a public hearing, and you would actually adopt it by resolution, and then you conduct the sale.
Mr. Frierson?
Well, I'm glad to hear that no one else has received pushback on this. I actually have, and I've wrestled with this on my own, frankly, because I think everybody needs to understand the repercussions. And first and foremost, yes, Church Street, where I live, is on this list, and it is in desperate need of repair. I totally understand that, but I do think we need more citizen input. I question when we went through the bond sale the first time, we had a citizens input committee. We didn't really pay every last bit of attention to it, but we did have it, and we got input from it. And so, I think that we ought to be valuing the entire population of the city. And one of the things that Dr. Hoshman, you and I have always agreed on is that the citizens need to have their voice. And I think that's especially important this time. And I realize that with the elections in May, there's kind of as the packet indicates, there may be some time constraints, but I do have some initial questions. First of all, if you're talking about issuing $11 million in COs, is that normal for what we've ever done in the past, or is that an above average amount? Anybody know when this has happened?
I think Gene is probably the best person to answer.
I didn't go back and research it, but I know we've done several, I think, $5 million issues in the past, because that's kind of the minimum amount you normally want to use to kind of make the cost of issuance make sense. But I didn't go back and research if we'd done more than that, but I know we've done that.
Without research, though, this would be atypical of what has been done in the past, twice about what normally.
Well, I'm pretty confident we've never gone probably over 10, because $10 million, if you issue 10 or less, it makes it bank qualified debt, which gets you a better interest rate, and that's normally a big factor in putting a cap on it, at that point.
And so the 11 million came from, and I apologize, I'm sure I heard this before, but the 11 million came from
just because of the amount of 5 cents that we thought.
Okay, that rounded out.
Yeah, so it can be fixed to the amount rather than the cents.
I mean, and that's understandable. I just forgot that piece of the puzzle. So I don't know. I mean, I have, with just this list, I think we certainly need more input personally. I think that the people ought to get a chance to say, because I've had several people say that what you're really doing is you're taking advantage of a fortunate situation presented by PJC. So you have not really done anything on your own. You're capitalizing on somebody else's good fortune. And I do try to balance that out with the fact that some of these streets are in desperate need of repair. But if we're going to talk about the good, we need to talk about the bad too. And that really is something that if something changes with PJC, we've really changed everybody's tax rate quite a lot. And the other question I have is you're forcing a tax increase on people, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Is there any other way around this? I mean, if you say like, we're going to hold the tax rate, but we want to take this on.
Well, at least from my standpoint, I'll try to answer it, and then there are other more experienced people who can answer this. First of all, yes, we are forcing an increase. There's no question about it. And number two, yes, we are benefiting from something else. It's not on our own. It's because of the
Right.
PJC fact. So the answers to those two questions are yes. The third is, I don't think we are necessarily right now fixated on which streets to do. I think that is something that the council can sit and decide at a future date of which streets to fix. That can be open to debate, because certainly we'll take into account what the city manager says, but I think individually we can go around and see. Now, as far as the total amount that Mr. Anderson is saying, 10, 11 or 10, I don't think it matters whether it's 11 or whether it's 10.
Right.
The basic idea is really that we have a fortunate situation here, and that fortunate situation is that without raising our tax bill, we will still be paying less taxes than what we were supposed to pay next year. And we will have a situation where we can fix the streets. Now, the answer, is there another way of doing it? Well, quite honestly, with the tight budget that we have had, I don't think there is another way of doing it, because we don't have free $11 million to do it. And I agree with you that I've always favored the idea of having an election for funds, but I think at this point, with the total amount of tax that we will be paying will still be less, I'm going to still favor a certificate of obligation. And it's not just based because I want it, because really none of these streets is where I live, so it's not a personal thing. But I think the streets need to be done, and just pushing it to yet another council when me and you are not there is just the same kind of thing as over the years things have decayed. So I don't know where else we can get some money to do the streets, quite honestly.
Well, and in thinking about this, there's the other side of this too, that, and I'm not going to just focus in specifically on industry or anything like that, but it does trickle down from the industry being able to realize a tax savings to now not being quite as savvy as it was there. But then also you think about the amount of rental property that's available in Paris, and if you raise those taxes, those are going to get pushed down to those that rent, and that while it may not seem like a big number, that increase is still going to be there. It's still going to come downhill.
Except that, Mr. Frierson, the percentage is increased, but the amount of tax will not affect the rental properties, because the tax bill for that individual property, where he will still be paying less than what he has been paying.
The net, yes.
Yeah, the net.
But it's still not as low as it could be, which is why I think the people need to have a voice. That's just
I mean,
my
whatever.
opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
So, I just think that's something that everybody needs to realize, and you can decide however you want to, but I think that's something that's always been important.
And I think your idea is a good idea, that we've always taken input before. I just think that this situation is a little bit different, so I'll differ, but, that's fine. Ms. Drake.
Well, like Mr. Frierson, I have had people contact me for it and against it. And pretty much the same, I'm not going to re-emphasize everything that Matt just said, but that they wanted to have, the ones that I heard, that they're not per se against it, they just want to have a say in the matter. And then I've had people that said, wow, this was sort of like a gift dropped into our lap.
Yeah.
Because, and both sides agreed that something needs to be done with the streets. And I agree, something needs to be done with the streets. My street isn't on there, but it's bad. We can't do them all. And I think whatever we decide to do, that we've got to look at the streets that are the most traveled, with the most traffic on it, and that would have the big bang for our buck. And again, I don't know where the prices came from for each one of these, but I would hope that when and if we get to that point that, we really look at the cost and what we're doing. Are we doing getting the biggest bang for our buck in the type of paving we're doing? I'm real torn, I'm gonna be honest, because like I said, I've had in my district people contact me for it and against it.
And so this is not an action item, but since it's a direction item, I'm going to see what I want to say, and then council can agree, disagree, and give directions based on that. And I would suggest that we proceed with a certificate of obligation, but limit it to $10 million instead of 11, so that we stay within that. You said the cutoff point is 10 million, so stay within $10 million and proceed with it. That would be just my suggestion.
Can I ask a quick question? And this isn't related to that comment, but just something that John and I mentioned briefly today, and I thought we'd just go ahead and talk about it in public because I told him I would. One of the questions that came up to me is, what is the city doing day to day in budgeting ongoing maintenance, and really, is this a maintenance issue, or really, where is this? And John, can you kind of take us through the process on what's budgeted, how you guys decide streets?
Yeah,
and
we have a crew, of course, of about 13 or 12 or so guys that fill potholes, do stuff like that. We also have a budget within the street department budget of about $460,000, $480,000 every year to pay for chip seal and asphalt and that sort of thing. So we do a lot of streets every year, and those are maintenance projects. And you see that a lot of times. You see chip seal, it looks good at first, and then after a while it gets bumpy and the rocks get in your yard, and you think, well, why'd they do that? Because it's just a maintenance item. It's like painting your house or changing your oil. You need to do that, but it's not the same thing as rebuilding a road. And you can do that. You're supposed to do that. That extends the life of your road. You see the TxDOT doing that. They chip seal, they recoat roads all the time. But at some point, you have to rip the whole thing up and start over and build a real road. Church is a perfect example of that. Church Street has been resurfaced so many times that in some areas the curb's like an inch high. So the drainage system doesn't work. It's not that we're stupid, it's just that, well, we could go in there and fix it, but we might flood more people because if we do it, we're going to raise the road up even higher. It just needs to be completely rebuilt. And so, but we do spend almost $500,000 in materials cost alone every year on fixing streets. We have hundreds of miles of streets. You only do so many every year.
The one thing I would say, whatever I'm saying with that, would be that I think the street list needs to be if we decide to proceed with it, I think the street list should be re-looked at again with the city manager, the council members, and then reselected streets based on what the general consensus is.
Can I ask another question, John? As far as that part of what we have in the budget every year, do we have a particular plan to use that money, or is it just we're using it when a problem arises?
No, typically Rufus, the street superintendent, working with Jerry McDaniel, the public works director, they develop a plan. These are the streets we're going to try to do this year, every year. So they don't just do it willy-nilly. They'll sometimes get off because something will happen on this road, it'll wash out or get torn up. But those guys work out there 40 hours a week plus. They can tell you where every bump and hole is in the whole town. And so they do have a schedule, an annual schedule.
And then my next question is, a lot of times when we go in and patch a road, it sinks. Do we have anything in place where we can go back and build that back up again? Because I know there's several.
Yeah, we have to do that a lot. And that goes back to some roads need to be reconstructed instead of just maintained. Because a lot of those places have soft spots under them. Because so many of them we've dug up and found out you're supposed to build a big base under your road. Most fires, that was never done for some reason. You just got gravel sitting on top of, gravel and oil sitting on top of dirt. So you have that problem. There's also a place where we've got really hard areas where they put some concrete patches. Well, that looks good at first, but concrete moves, and then that tears the road up. So whoever did that, I'm glad they don't work here anymore because that's just crazy. But yeah, that's a problem. We don't know about soft spots usually until it happens. And so a lot of these roads are ones that have a lot of soft spots that just need to be dug out completely. A lot of these also need sidewalk work and drainage work, which is part of a road project as well.
And again, I want to impart this to the council. we are under no compulsion that it has to be done as a certificate of obligation. That's just my suggestion from what I've seen. If generally the council feels that it should be a vote of the people, and if everybody on the council says, put it on the agenda and put it as a vote of the people, well, it just delays it, but I mean, that's fine. So how does the council want to proceed? Personally, I would, as I've said, I would do a certificate of obligation, but Mr. Wilson, yeah, sure, Mr. Wilson, go ahead.
I thought that you said here that it says receive input from citizens.
Absolutely.
Can we have
Yeah, please go right ahead.
I just personally state that, I think that we're, when you're raising taxes 10%, and that's what you're doing, 5 cents is 10% of what we're paying in taxes right now total, that to do a $10 million bond issue here in Paris without a vote of the citizens, if you take that and compare it to Dallas, Texas, okay, we have approximately $2 billion in taxable, well, less than $1.6 billion in what we refer to as taxable value. And so if you take that, and Dallas has $104 billion in taxable value, it would be equivalent, that's 50 times more. They're 50 times larger, or have 50 times larger tax base. And if you take that same analogy and put it with this, to put that $10 million in perspective, you're actually equivalent to a $500 million tax bond without a vote. And I can understand that you want to get it done and all that, but I would suggest that I went out and first of all, the citizens of Paris, I had to come to Mr. Godwin and get a list and go out and look at it. There's no maps that's been drawn out here. And what we're doing is we're raising money, and you're raising $10 million, and then we're going to go find a project. There's a lot of projects out there, but today I drove up and down some of these streets, and I looked at it, and I would invite you to go with me, to look at these streets and analyze what we're proposing to spend on some of these streets. There's some that's got $2 million, and when you drive up and down it, you can do a overlay on that street for $150,000 for the whole entire street versus $2 million. And when I drove down that street, the problem with that street was where we had cut the street and made repairs, and those repairs had been put back in asphalt, cold mix, and it sunk down 1.5 inches. It's a very rough street. I think that we need to sit down and analyze what we're doing in street repairs. Okay, does it mean to come back 6 months after you fix it and then have it where you can go in there and put a hot mix overlay on there? We maintain a good street. I am convinced that this is not a $10 million project. I took the value, I took the lineal footage today, and I multiplied the lineal footage by the cost of what the local contractors are doing, what they call, they grind off the top coat 1.5 inches, and then they relay it with asphalt. That's what the state of Texas does. That's what they've done on 20th Northeast. That's what they did on Lamar Avenue. That's $1.50 a square foot, okay? And when you take that number and put it on the entire project, all of those up there, instead of $17 million, it came up to $2.9 million. Using that figure that they just got through doing for the state of Texas. In fact, the contractor said he did 12 miles for $1.8 million of grinding. When he gets through grinding the top off, he has left over. He uses 25% or 20% back into his asphalt mix. The rest of it is there in order to put it on the city yard that you can use for fill and for overlay. And yes, Mr. Godwin, there was a lot of streets in Paris, Texas that doesn't have any underlay. They were dirt streets. And in the 90s, we went in and put top coat on them, seal coat and everything, and got us out of, we had gravel streets. We had unpaved streets, a lot of them in Paris. And that has been improved. And I'll just say that to go in and tear up a street and completely redo it, when right now what we need is a good drive service.
And Mr. Wilson, the purpose of writing this was not just, first of all, we have not even decided that these are the streets. Number two, I don't think they have studied exactly all the streets as to exactly will that be the cost or not. The purpose was to have a certain amount of money dedicated to the streets. Whatever the cost is and whatever the best way of doing it is what should be done, and I agree with you. But as I said...
But to issue $10 million and then us go out and find a project,
well, we're not going to find a project. There is a project, and that is street repair. So it's not like we're going to go look for projects. But anyway, I don't have any objections. If people feel that we should put it on the vote, I have no objection. Put it all to the vote of the people and let people decide. I have no objection to that.
If you came in and said we want to do $5 million now and see how far that goes, because that's what we're looking at this time. Church Street, no doubt about it, it has to be redone. But there's other streets out there that can get by, and
absolutely,
and for 15 years be with an overlay.
Yeah.
Now then, up until 2008, every year we had so much for overlay, asphalt overlay. It wasn't chip seal, and it wasn't putting the crack seal. It was actually overlay. And every year we spent $300,000, and that hasn't been done since 2008. And what we have right now, I think, is a lack of maintenance for the last few years when we should have been spending that money on the worst streets and just spending it every year. And with the reserves that we've had, I guarantee you we have had the money to spend $300,000 for overlay for the last 8 years.
Have we not spent the money on overlays and street repairs?
We've spent it on chip seal, overlay, asphalt, different maintenance.
We
and
have
repair
spent
issues.
the money on
We
it.
have some, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we spend it all.
Can I ask a question? And I'm not saying what I'm doing yet or not. If we sold certificate of obligation, say for $10 million, and when we get in here and we decide exactly what streets we're going to do, and it's going to only cost us, say, $6 million.
Whatever amount.
Whatever amount. I'm just throwing that out there. Can we do that?
If you've already sold them, then you've got the money in the bank. And you have to spend them on streets, and you have to spend them within 3 years or so. But yeah, you're not going to have a list of specific streets in the ordinance language or the resolution language.
Right.
But yeah, and we assumed you guys would look at this. And the reason we gave you a list of 19 projects instead of 8 or 9 or 10 is because we wanted here's a long list of priorities. You're going to need to knock some of these off. But you could, if this was the perfect list you thought, and you went with this list, then as we got into it, we would do as many as we could until we ran out of money. And if we did all of those and didn't run out of money, I don't think that's possible. If you do it right, instead of let's do it good enough.
I wouldn't be standing here tonight.
Even just looking at it, one sees a lot over here related to Pine Bluff, so that's kind of limited to that. And there are plenty of other streets in town, I think, which are more traveled and which require more work than some of the lists that we have. So I would not necessarily, that's why I said in the beginning that we should relook at the streets that need to be done and the amount that need to be spent on it.
But to your specific question, if you sell 10, you're going to need to spend all 10. You can't just set it in an account.
Unless you want to approve 10 and don't sell 10. That can be done, right?
No.
Okay.
Wait.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, if you call for 10, I mean, that's probably what you're going to sell.
Okay.
To address one of Cleon's comments, the only other alternative to, if you did every street in town, you still had money left over, what you are allowed to do is put that excess proceeds in the INS fund to pay that debt, and thereby you could reduce your tax rate back some that way. That's the other legal alternative.
Okay, that was my, yeah.
And again, one can revisit the issues if that's what the council wants to do. Take a tour of the city and see what streets need to be done and revisit the issue. I mean, I have no objections to it. I just feel that pushing it further down and keep pushing it further down doesn't achieve the goal. But if it takes another council meeting for us to go visit the streets, see what we think, I have no objection to it, really.
I'm definitely in favor of a certificate of obligation if you'll keep it at $5 million, okay? And then if we need more, come back. But to go out there at 10 million and then you're out there trying to get that all done and you start using up money where it doesn't need to be used.
And I have no objection if one wants to start with 5 million. I mean, we can, at least it'll be a little dent, maybe not a big dent. Start with that and change as we need to go. Go ahead, sir.
How you doing, sir? How you doing, City Council? One of the streets that's not on there that I want to mention is Tudor Street, which Tudor goes the same length as Martin Luther King almost, from 3rd Northeast all the way to 20th Street. We have no sidewalks. It's lopsided all the way through. There's no stop signs from 20th all the way to Fitzhugh. So no speed limit thing. So it's a lot of speed there where people are walking in the street with nothing. I mean, they have to go in the street because there's no gutter, concrete gutter, drainage there, no way. It's all just grass, so they can't walk there. So that's one of the streets that in the black neighborhood community that we really need to address.
Okay.
Thank you.
So well, my suggestion, which was for, yeah, go ahead, please, sorry.
I'm taking the time again, and I've done it many times, to drive the streets in my district, which his street is the one he just mentioned. They are in deplorable condition. Our children are in danger. I've seen them walking in areas they should not walk, but that's the only way they can get to school. A little later, I'm going to include the Trail to Paris. We are in desperate need of streets. I don't know if Mr. Wilson drove any of the streets in my district, but I guarantee you that I can't think of a one that's in good shape.
So if I can make a suggestion, we can start at 5 million. If it's cost effective, let Mr. Anderson go. If we are still cost effective to do it, start with that, and then at least it will make some, some headway, and then we can come back and revisit the issue. Is it cost effective to do $5 million bond, though, or not?
It is. That's probably the minimum that you would need to issue to keep it really cost effective.
Will we get a interest rate not as good as 10? Well, how much?
I don't think the amount is so much the issue. It's keeping it bank qualified, which is 10 or below, and the rest of it has to do with what our credit rating is, and our credit rating is good currently.
Mr. Frierson?
Yeah, I just have a question, not about the dollars and cents of it, but from the city manager's perspective, and maybe Jerry too, but walk me through operationally. And I'm not trying to walk both sides of the fence. I just like to talk around things to kind of get everything out. Difference versus, I mean, I get the number of projects, but from a marginal utility perspective, 5 million versus the 10. I mean, if you had 5, priority-wise, where would you, not a specific street, would you take a major project, or would you try to knock out a bunch of the smaller ones, or?
Well, I'm not sure, because, for example, this is a somewhat prioritized list. And so for my first reaction, when you said 5 minutes, like, well, then we'd do 2 streets.
Yeah.
And, boy, those 2 streets need to be done, but I hate to only do 2 streets. And I said, well, we could do a bunch of these medium-priced ones, but then I hate to punish Church Street just because they've been beat up so long.
My question,
so frankly, the 5 million worries me.
Okay, my question would be, though, that as Mr. Wilson suggested, that some streets may need to be completely dug, but some may not. So do you feel that maybe some of the streets will cost less in doing than what is?
About half of these are already listed as milling and overlay, which is what he's talking about. So we've already anticipated about half of these. That's all they would be. Mm-hmm. So we've already looked at those. And again, some may go up, some may go down, but we've already done that with about half of these projects where that's how it will be done. That's how part of Collegiate was done, in fact.
And one other
thing, run a budget for that reason.
Personally, if I was to prioritize, I'd prioritize based, not that I live or you live on Church Street, but based on what are the most traveled streets. Right. And I mean, the likelihood, not to discount anything, but 8th Pine Bluff to Old Jefferson is probably not as much a traveled street as some of the main entryways.
It's a gateway.
Yeah, and so the streets which are gateways to the city where people come in and an outsider coming to town is concerned, I think those are more important streets than, that's just my feeling.
Like Pine Bluff.
Yeah, main Pine Bluff. But what I'm talking about, like 8th to...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's not as important a street as much as would be main Pine Bluff or main Church or 33rd or...
Well,
7th Northwest.
And I don't want to sound like I'm money hungry or anything like that, but, and however you do it, and we'll certainly do what you say. But I can tell you, finding this, our list was way longer than this, and included Tudor. And we were trying to cut it down to, 14, 15. So finding, and you mentioned the CIP plan that company prepared for us 3 years ago, they had $34 million worth of projects on that list. So finding roads to repair in Paris is not a hard thing. You can just swing a dead cat, and find them all over the place.
Since I've presented this, I think I respect his opinion, I respect Mr. Wilson's opinion. I think we should stick to 10 million, but let it be the vote of the people on how people want to decide on it.
I'd support that.
Okay. Does everyone want to go along, or you want to? Okay, so let's do it, keep it at 10, but put it as a voting item for people to see whether they're interested in it or not.
Our next step would be to actually call the election. We'll do that on the February 13th, I think, agenda. So.
That's fine. Does that, everybody comfortable with that idea?
Yeah. Yes, sir. And just, I know we've kind of beat a dead horse on this, but just for the record, I personally, if I get to go vote on it, I'm certainly in support of this, because you're dead on. We're in desperate need of it.
Yeah.
I just think that.
Absolutely.
And again, I would ask the council, or whichever future council is there to decide on the streets, that please do the streets that are most traveled first.
Absolutely.
And then proceed from there on.
Agree.
All right. Sounds good? All right. Sorry you're missing your football game, but we try to move as fast.
You're doing great. Thank you.
Item number 14, conduct a public hearing discussing on ordinance amending zoning ordinance number 1710 of the City of Paris as hereto amended to provide definitions and locations for distilleries, solar farms by amending Section 8 use of land and building, by amending Section 12-100 specific use permits, by adding Section 29 particular requirements of solar farms, providing the repealer clause, provided a severability clause, providing a savings clause, providing a penalty clause, and providing an effective date. Before Mr. Efrasi starts, I think this is the item we had discussed in the past,
yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
And so this is being brought back. Has everyone on the council read about it? Okay. Mr. Godwin, do you have any short comments on this?
Only that this is the solar farms. We tabled it last time for potential danger. It was, I think, a 4-acre maximum or minimum. Now it's 32. We put a lot of safety restrictions in there. Distilleries is another use that's come along as a possible business in town. So we've just used traditional nationwide planning standards for that. So P&Z adopted it unanimously. You do need to have a public hearing, but if you have any technical questions from Alan.
So before you start, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anyone wanting to speak for or against is most than welcome to come and speak for it. Okay, if there's nobody wanting to speak for it, does the council want to hear about it more, or can I make a motion to approve? Anyone has any questions on it? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Does that include the solar farms and the distillery as well, sir?
It's item number 14.
Fine.
And I'm coming to item 15 next.
Good. I agree with everything Mr. Godwin
Item
said.
14 is approved as presented in our agenda packet.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 15 is conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance amending Chapter 22 mobile homes and mobile home parks of the Code of Ordinances, amending zoning ordinance number 1710 of City of Paris, Texas, as herefore amended by amending Section 8 use of land and buildings, and by amending Section 22 general definitions, providing a repealer clause, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, providing a penalty clause, and providing an effective date. All council members have read this in their agendas? Yes. The public hearing is now open. Anyone wanting to speak for or against is more than welcome to come forward. If there's nobody wanting to speak for or against, the public hearing is now closed. Do any of the council members have any questions of Mr. Efrasi? No. I'll take a motion on this item.
I make a motion, we accept it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Next is thank you.
Thank you.
Next is item number 16, receive presentation on the status and progress of sale of properties with delinquent taxes. Mr. Pounders is here. I want to personally, first of all, thank Mr. Pounders for really putting his heart into selling these properties and bringing it back to our tax rolls. So thank you so much. You can do your presentation, but just give a brief idea to all the council members of how you come up with this so that everybody knows exactly what we are talking about.
And I assure you, my notes are on one page, not on 8. First off, Tracy Pounders. My office is at 38 First Street Northwest here in Paris. It is an honor to be your lawyer in the delinquent tax collection process. And thank you so much for having me out here. I was asked to give an update on our collection activities with regard to the judicial process. The judicial collection part of what we do falls into mainly two categories. One is business personal property, the other real property. Business personal property, and this is real quick, it's about 15% of the delinquent tax roll. There's not too many counts get into too much of a trouble on this. The thing that stands out about it is it's a 4-year statute of limitations. So that runs every February 1st. If you go past the statute of limitations, you can't collect the account. This can be extended, though, by filing suits. And so over the last few years, I've filed 53 lawsuits for the city to extend that collection period. And we've had some success at collecting some of those accounts. They're very hard to get when they get a little bit older, but we have, and we would not have been able to collect those had I not filed the lawsuits. This season, I'm actually I'm looking at 13 accounts, and I suspect that the suits will be filed in the next 2 weeks to extend the statute of limitations on those accounts. Now, the biggest part of your delinquent tax roll, it's 85% of it is real property. And the thing that really stands out, when John and I first talked about this back in 2013, what really stood out with your delinquent tax roll is it was about 900 accounts where the delinquent tax plus anticipated costs of litigation and costs of sale were more than the appraised value of the property. And I've been collecting since 2002. I have never seen that many accounts. You've got a delinquent tax roll of 2,900. And 900 of them are in this category. Now, in addition to the lost revenue from these accounts, in the group that I've been able to research on currently, they have a lot of problems. About 60% of them have city liens on them. And in the group I'm working with right now, it's 1 to 6 city liens on the properties. And about 44% of these properties have title problems. It's usually that the owner has died and we have unknown heirs, but there are other kinds of problems. So you have some properties that are basically unmarketable. No way for anybody to sell it, no way for anybody to buy them. And that makes them an extremely high priority because if you don't have an owner taking care of it and you'd have no buyers willing to come and take care of it, you now have a blight. And it's an attractive nuisance where dangerous and illegal activities can take place on it. So this group of properties on the delinquent tax roll is really my highest priority that we've gone through. Now, there's two ways of approaching these. The first one's standard litigation. Very slow, very expensive, not really an option if we want to actually start cutting away at this problem. But there's a second procedure that the tax code allows. It's very limited in its scope, but it actually fits this group very well, and that is to seize the property and sell it through a tax warrant. Now, with a tax warrant, it has to be in the city limits, less than an acre. It has to have delinquent taxes for all of the last 5 years or 3 years if there are tax liens on it, and again, that's 60% of them. and it must be abandoned. And the statute gives us certain categories that we can go. Usually we establish it by the presence of city liens or that nobody's mowing the grass. That's 80% of it right there. We have utilized a very high volume of these. We've been able to reduce that from 900 to about 750. It's about 150, it's 152 properties, excuse me. And they have been foreclosed on and sold through this process. Now, more of these could be done, but for the high cost of the tax sale. The tax code is written so that taxing units have no cost in this collection process, with one exception, and that is the payment of publication fees. And unfortunately, it is very expensive. However, so far, I've been able to cover all these costs through the proceeds of sales. So I want to assure you, I haven't come to John asking for money, and no city funds have been used on any one of the tax sales on this. Now, when we're in the process selecting the properties to go through this process, priorities are set either by properties that are brought to the attention to me by city staff, but to the greater extent, because I have to have some proceeds to cover the cost, I rely on taxpayers calling me and saying, hey, I'm interested in this property or that property. So if we can get more buyers, we could also sell more of these properties. Now, so far, about half of the properties have been sold. We've gotten them into the hands of new owners, which is a really good rate on that. The way we do that is I list all of the properties that are available on my website. There's a tax sales tab. It's pounderslaw.com. If you're really bored one night, come take a look at that. But you can see all the properties we have. About a quarter of them are in the process right now, so we're going to have a whole lot more sold pretty quick. Now, I want to stress not much revenue is made from selling these properties because they have problems. Most of them have problems. You're not going to get the top dollar. It's oftentimes 10 cents on the dollar for some of these properties that are coming on there. But the benefit to the community is great. It gets it back on the tax roll, it clears up the title problem, and someone other than the city's mowing the grass, at least hopefully afterward on that. Now, this cycle where I know in the notice, the memorandum that was sent out to you, it said February 7th. We've actually delayed this over to March 7th. By delaying it 1 month, we can capture the 2016 delinquent taxes that become delinquent on February 1st on that. And we are expecting to have about 68. We still have a couple of weeks, and we are still reviewing additional properties to add in on that sale. But there should be, that would be on Tuesday. It's the first Tuesday of the month at the courthouse. We always have a nice little crowd, but I wish more people would actually buy the properties and put a little bit more into it. Now, in addition to this program, though, there also is a program of standard litigation. Right now, we are early in that process, but right now I've got 20 properties that we're looking at that are on my desk, and assuming that we're able to figure out all the owners and be able to satisfy the requirements of standard litigation, we should be filing suit on those accounts in the March-June time period. That is the update, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
First of all, I want to thank you again, because for years prior to you starting off, we had tons of properties which were not sold, so you're making a very conscious effort, and I think all of us are extremely happy about it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
so the second thing is we'll ask favors from Paris News that maybe they could give a discount to the city and publish some more of this in future, so that it doesn't cost us that much to publicize it, and maybe we will get better attendance for buying of these tax delinquent properties.
I think I could actually double the number of properties that I put up were the costs of doing the sale, not as oppressive. Either through lower publication costs or more buyers with deeper pockets.
Okay.
So.
I have experience with buying some of your properties, not from you per se, where I bought 2 and renovated them, sold them, and they're back on the tax rolls. I'm pleased. It was because it was in my neighborhood, and it definitely affected my property. But I would encourage a lot of people to get in there. It's not that hard. It's just to bid on them and get in there and fix them.
Yes, yes, ma'am. And the word is getting out. When I first started this, it was a real trickle of phone calls. I mean, I'd get a phone call every once in a while. In fact, you've actually sent to me a couple of buyers, and I do appreciate that. But the word is getting out there. We do utilize, in addition to my website, the eParis Extra. About every other month, we put up a little note on that, and we'll get several, a dozen or so calls from that, and many of them do buy, which is a really good thing.
I'm certainly not a tradesman by means, but I can do a lot of things, and if it improved my neighborhood, I was more than willing to do it, and I can say it made a big difference.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that.
Any council members?
Just appreciate your hard work. And I've had a lot of people that have been asking me where they can find a list, so I'm glad to know that, and I'll get that information.
Yes, pounderslaw.com. Any of the properties that come up. Now, I will state, I do not include on that list the properties that are foreclosed on by the other law firm that's practicing in the county. And the reason why that is because I have not done the title work on them. It makes it a little bit difficult. However, if somebody does find a property that they foreclosed on and the other law firm will not help them, have them call me, and I will do that work to see it, so we can get it into their hands. I want to get as many of these properties off of what I call the dead roll and into people's hands.
One other thing that you mentioned was that none of the city money has been utilized, and I'm just thinking that maybe the city could spare some money to advertise in the local paper, and the paper could give some discount so that we locally can advertise it a little bit more than what has been done. I mean, we have not spent any money, but the thing about it is, in the long run, even if one of those dilapidated homes is sold, we save $2,500 of the demolition cost. So I think if the city spends a little bit of money on advertising locally, we might find a lot more buyers. Maybe Mr. Godwin can look into it.
Sure. Well, I'll visit with Tracy about it.
Okay.
And discuss it, and then if it's not a lot of money, then we should spend it and advertise it a little bit better.
Okay. We'll work on that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and if you happen to think of a question later, feel free to give a call to me. I'm available anytime. If I do ask, if you call and you don't get me, please leave me a voicemail message. I will call you back as soon as I can. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you.
I don't think any of the council members are objecting to some advertising costs on it.
It costs
Right.
us $200.
So maybe we could help him out with some.
Thanks, Tracy.
Great.
We'll visit.
Thank you so much. Item number 17, discuss and act on ordinance amending Chapter 17 Code of Ordinance of City of Paris by amending Section 17.46 definitions and Section 17.53 prohibition of smoking in enclosed places of employment, making this finding related to the same, providing a repealer clause and a severability clause, a penalty clause, and providing an effective date. I think this item is in particular pertinent to Turner Industries, right?
Right, and other places, and specifically, our ordinance says if you got two walls, it's an enclosed space. I don't know where that came from, but I think 3 walls makes more sense than 2.
Okay. So, everybody has read this item? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 18, discuss and act on ordinance amending Article 7, towing and impoundment policy of Chapter 31 Traffic Code of Ordinances to remove the requirement in Section 31.138 that vehicle owners provide proof of financial responsibility to claim vehicles impounded under said ordinance, making this ordinance cumulative of state and federal laws, making other findings and provisions related to the subject, providing a repealer clause and a severability clause, a savings clause, a penalty clause, and providing an effective date. Mr. Hunley?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, sir. The Attorney General's office issued an opinion that our record services can't ask for proof of liability when people come out to pick up their cars, and we just need to change that part in the ordinance to comply with that. That's it.
Any council members has any questions, any objections? Motion on the item?
Make a motion to accept it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
carries. Mr. Drake is not here, so it's 6.
Thank you.
She was opposed.
She was opposed.
See how close she reads the minutes.
All right. Item number 21, I think this was placed by her.
19?
No, item,
Skip
well,
19.
oh, did I skip 19? Sorry. Discuss and act on a request from Breakfast Noon Optimist Club for funding in the amount of $2,000 for support of the 2017 baseball program.
If you recall, these are the folks that had a miscommunication. An employee, we had set an appointment for them to come make a presentation to you, and she left, and she didn't tell anybody down there, so we didn't give them anything. It's a good program. It's one we don't have to do ourselves. So I'd like to kind of get them on that list of people that get some money, 2,000, 4,000. They originally asked for 8, I think. So it's still a lot less than they asked for. And I hate to just give money away for free, but this is a really good program. They've asked 3 years in a row, and it seems like we made them wait long enough.
Go ahead. What does it?
Okay. I've been involved in this program. It's a great program. I think there's like 800 kids involved, and they started the, what was it, the special program?
What's your question?
For the special ed kids, what program was y'all starting? What was it?
Dixie Youth Baseball?
No, for the special ed kids. The ones that
Buddy Ball.
Buddy Walk. That is a ball. That is a great thing they started about 3 years ago. And
Yeah, that alone's worth us supporting it.
so what I would like to see, I think they were going to ask for $8,000, and I'd like to see us get closer to that because it benefits these youths and it's just a fantastic program.
You have the generous thought today? Well, they're asking for 2.
They originally asked.
Well, originally I think they asked for
They
8.
asked for 8 back last summer.
Originally, but
Let me,
we had
I'd like to say one
miscommunication.
word.
You have to introduce yourself.
You know,
please.
I'm state director for Dixie Youth Baseball, in which I'm acquainted with over 140 leagues, local leagues like Paris. This is the only city that does not do anything for baseball. You'd look at Sulphur Springs, McKinney, Nacogdoches, I can just keep on going. And they either have city parks, they have city maintenance, they have city contribution. They have something supporting that program. In Paris, we have nothing. We have 800 kids. We have built that facility with 7 baseball fields out there from private funds, Campbell Soup, Drake's, Harrison and Walker, individuals maybe sitting here on this board, I don't know. But the city needs to be a part of this program and be a partner with us. We bring state tournaments in here that benefits the businesses in this community. In the tune, we've figured $250,000 when we bring a tournament a state tournament in here, that it benefits the gas stations, the restaurants, and all of that. So we're asking for you all to become a partner with us and help us.
All right, how does the council want to go? Approve? But do you want to go up, stay at the same amount, or what do you want to do?
What do we have room for?
They're asking for 2,000, but Mr. Trinado is feeling quite generous today.
But they were originally going to ask for 8,000.
So you make a motion,
I make a motion.
whatever you want to say.
One other comment. The city, once upon a time, back 10 years ago or so, paid for our electricity. That was in the tune of $18,000 to $20,000 a year. We have partnered with Lamar County Electric and got that down between 8 and 10. You know, that would be super. If we only get 2,000 this year, thank you. If we get 4 or whatever you give us, we appreciate whatever.
Mr. Frierson, you're wanting to say something?
No, I'm just curious to see what Mr. Tornado is about to do.
Okay, I make a motion that we give them $8,000, what they originally asked for, we're going to ask for when they first come up here. They missed us.
Ms. Drake, you were saying
Well,
something?
I was just gonna ask the city manager, do we have any extra money that we
That's a
can?
loaded question.
Well, let me rephrase that again.
Is there available?
Is
Well, that's
there
a-
any money out there that we can pull from?
There's no specific account, but with a $46 million budget, 4 million or 6 million or 4,000 or 6,000 or 8,000 can be absorbed into the budget without really noticing it. We could probably put it in the fire chief's budget since he's not here.
Did you say 4 or 6?
He said 4 or 6.
Or
Ken.
6 or 8.
Any of those numbers is small enough, it's such a minuscule percentage of the overall.
I'll make a
$46
motion
million
for
budget.
$6,000.
Let's go with 6.
But he has a motion.
Oh, he has a motion? Did you make a
Yeah.
motion?
Okay,
You made a
I'll
motion.
6 then.
You're gonna amend
Make
the
a
No,
motion.
Are you gonna
Make a
amend
If
your
you already
motion?
made a
Motion to
motion, then
6.
I'll stick to what your motion
I
is.
think he's amending it.
Okay. Amended to $6,000.
is the motion.
The motion is 6.
6,000? 6,000 is the motion?
6,000.
Second?
Aaron? He seconded it, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 6,000 it is.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 21, receive update on drainage work.
Oh,
What did we do?
I need to put something else up here. Here it comes now. Hang on just a second.
I had sent in a few pictures of some areas I was concerned about. I think this one is actually in Matt's area, but I had someone complain to me about it, not knowing.
Right there by the car.
Yeah.
You want to just kind of go by these pictures for now and kind of give you
Yeah, I
kind of a
guess
quick
so.
run?
I know that I was contacted earlier in the summer about that y'all had sprayed it, was just sort of wondering when you were gonna come back and clean it out. And then I went by the other day and this is what it still looked like.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've cleaned that, but when we cleaned it, then we found the erosion, the washed out concrete. So even as we drill and grub, we're finding other problems.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
of course, it's not going ignored, it's just we're trying to get these other things done.
Right,
And hopefully, as we
okay.
get through it, we get back.
So
on-
that I can just let the people that are.
Right, right. And,
Contact
of course, this is all ongoing, never
Okay.
ending, so.
All right, and then the next one, this is Johnson Woods Drive between Clarksville and Clark Lane. I'm sort of back behind 31st. Had lots of people, because this is my district, lots of people contacting me about this ditch and sort of what's going on, the timetable, what's the projection of what's going to happen there. And I do know that one of the owners emailed me, and somebody had gone by and visited, well, she had visited with you.
Ms. Haynes?
Yeah, Ms. Haynes, the city manager, and then somebody went to her home and actually, was that you?
Myself once and then.
Yeah, and visited with her. So I was just sort of,
What this is part of the clearing between Lamar and Clark Lane, and it's part of the sewer line project. It's got to be, we're clearing it now, and the reason we're kind of doing this firsthand is that it cuts down on our, the Corps of Engineers when it gets to the mitigation side of it. And then the creek itself will be reworked.
and do we have a timeline, sort of?
Well, we're.
Because I've had lots of people that back up to this area, it's not Ms. Haynes, lots of people that have contacted me about this and wondering what's going on.
We told them we were kind of jumping out in front to get this done. Of course, the applications for FEMA has to be, I mean, it's an ongoing, we're probably, 2 years out of complete sewer and
You mean all sewer projects?
all sewer projects.
Yeah, our goal is to bid this sewer project out in this calendar year.
Right.
Okay.
So, and like I say, this is just kind of phase one, step one of the process for the sewer line and the drainage.
Yeah, Carl, you might have more specific information than Jerry or I have, since that's your project.
The sewer line and the drainage improvements we're trying to handle that in one big project.
Right.
So with the drainage improvements, we have to submit to the Corps of Engineers and get kind of pre-approval of what we're trying to do in that channel. We've made contact, our engineer has met with them a couple times, and they've made the submittal. We haven't heard back yet. There's a timetable associated with dealing with the Corps of Engineers, which is 2 to 3 months minimum typically. But we're trying to finish those plans before the summer and be ready to bid that project out this year. But that is going to be contingent upon the Corps approving of what we're proposing and getting all of that in place and ready to bid. So it's underway. It's just not wrapped up yet.
And then once we get the bid, about how long do you think we're looking at for the whole project to be finished?
I would anticipate.
I know weather and all that kind of stuff.
I would anticipate 9 months.
Okay.
9 to 12. By the time we lay the sewer line and then come back and shape the channel, start to finish, that would be my guess. I think that's what the time. I just don't want to tell you wrong. I think that's what we're working with right now.
Okay. All right. And the tree, just doing the tree. I mean, it's just like they
There
cut
was
it
a
off.
lot of overgrowth back there, and we knew
Yeah.
that once they got back. I mean, everything that's down would have been down when we started the sewer project, but now we can see the creek, and I know it looks drastically different, but we're out ahead of the game.
Okay.
In order to replace that pipe, it's all going to have to be removed. There's also some retaining walls and things we're going to be dealing with homeowners as we go.
Okay, yeah, because
in preparation of that project.
Okay, thank you. Right. That's just another view of it. This is the south side of Clark Lane, there at Johnson's Woods. I mean, is that still going to be part of that same project?
It actually stops there at Clark Lane.
It stops there?
It stops at Clark
Okay.
Lane, the sewer line and all that.
Right.
Now, this part is, and you can see
Where does it
from the
go?
picture you're taking, on in kind of deeper, it's
Going on-
channelized, it's
Right.
concrete from there back that way. So there is some clearing and grubbing and some more
It's
shaping.
what y'all going to do. Okay, all right. Ooh, I don't know what happened. Oh, but that is the area by Colonial Apartments. I don't know what happened to that one picture. That flooded really bad back last spring.
Yeah, and so far what we've done is we're just going in twice a year and clean and clear and mow and that type of stuff. It does need some reshaping. Again, it's
money
and when we can get there. And of course, once we run out of the drainage money, which part of it's got to be reserved for the 24th Street project, which is in process of engineering, and it's just going to be city crews going in and working as diligently as we can to get some of it done.
Okay. And again, that's the same part there by
Right.
Colonial Apartments, just a different view. This, of course, is there and got all that dirt and everything, debris, so I just sort of, and then the next, if you'll just go through the next couple of pictures, whoever's clicking. That whole ditch behind Village
Okay.
Shopping Center, went blank for
Yeah,
a
you
minute.
can see where we went in, we had some erosion control where we set this head wall SET and did some drainage work there. That whole piece down through, and I think that next,
It's from Collegiate
from
to
Collegiate to
Clarksville.
Clarksville. That's about a
Oh, it's
100-foot wide
there.
channel, and
Yes.
we cleaned Buttermilk back
Right,
up to.
the other way.
And that is another section that we're gonna clear. It's just a matter of when we can get there and.
Because we've done all this other, and then
Right.
it's like, gets here and it's like, stops.
Yeah,
The
we're
water
gonna get up
does.
there and get that. I mean, that even relates to those baffles that you were showing
Right.
earlier that collects, those were designed in the previous engineering
Right.
project to slow the water down. Well, it slows it down, but it's still coming fast, which causes the backup. And
Back up to
We're hoping that
24
they
and
take,
everything else.
say that those need to come out once
Okay.
that's said and done too.
All right. Again, that's still some of that same area, just different views.
Right.
And so you can see, there's water like that stands all the time.
And that's pretty deep right there.
It's
too.
very deep, and
Yes.
and there's not a fence there anymore, and it's very
Mhm.
dangerous. I worry about kids getting there.
Right.
And
that's-
then, of course, this is.
That's
over-
part of the
yeah,
24th Street.
That's at 24th Street that y'all are studying right now.
Yes, ma'am.
And then that's just, this right here, this, y'all went in and sprayed, but then there's still just big old piles of dirt, and there's some places I didn't get to, that there's big old pieces of concrete still down in those ditches.
They actually, and thank you for the
They
picture.
came today, my husband called me, he said, they're over here cleaning out this ditch of this dirt.
And we just, and unfortunately, with our concerns has been the bigger pictures, and we're
Right.
trying to get the bigger things.
But these are the ones that I keep
we've
getting
gotta get it
calls
done.
about, so that's why I just went ahead and put them all
So
on
there's
here
a
while
few
we were
things
doing
like that, and we
this.
appreciate that.
And that's it, okay, that's what I had questions
Ready?
about that people have been contacting me in my district about.
Okay. Y'all got the map.
All right.
Thank you.
Where Ms. Lancaster has a question.
I did not bring pictures of our drainage system. I really wish I had, because we don't even have any of the cement that you're showing except in one spot.
Right.
We've got already these trees that have been cut are already growing back. And you and I talked about this some years ago, and I thank you for the help that you did do, because very few of our homes did flood this last time, and I credit you for that.
Thanks.
But we still
team
need
effort.
a lot more.
Team effort, lots of people involved. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Item 23, discuss development practices and procedures. The item needs to be untabled, so I'll make a motion to untable.
You missed 22.
I'm sorry, did I miss it? Oh, sorry. Item 22, receive disannexation request from Andrew Preston. Discuss, provide directions to the staff. Is that Mr. Preston?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I'm Andy Preston. There's various reasons.
Mr. Preston, can you speak in the mic, please?
Sorry. Yeah, so there's various reasons for requesting the de-annexation, but just to keep it short, the main reasons are just the lack of city water or sewer. Obviously, we're on our own septic system. It's county water, and there are other things as well, as there's just neglected property around us, and so it's just, and I don't really see any benefit to the city to ever be able to provide the water or sewer to our area where we're located.
We'll discuss, Mr. Preston, the one thing is that water you cannot get because it's part of the Lamar County Water District, yes. So that is understandable. The concern, one of the concerns which was raised in our packets was the fact that it does create an island because there's somebody right next to you in between who doesn't want to get out of the city. That's number two that I had questions of. And number three is your taxes are not going to be affected now because with the PJC thing, the PJC taxes you have to pay anyway in being in the county. So it's, even if you were to be disannexed out of the area, it's not going to affect your tax rate anymore. Now, in the past, it would have affected it because if you were outside the city, you wouldn't be paying PJC taxes. But now that your PJC taxes are going to be applied to Lamar County, your tax will not be any different. You do realize that.
So you're saying there's no tax benefit whatsoever?
Not anymore. It used to be before, but the PJC tax is one of the taxes which you would have paid. I mean, correct me, Gene knows better about this. I don't think there'll be a difference, or will there be a difference in his tax rate? Yeah. If there is any difference, it'll be minuscule, I think.
Paris Junior College basically in district before included whatever the city of Paris was plus this outlying area out in the county, and now it just covers the whole county. So he was probably paying
the only tax that he might save is the city tax.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, that was just my opinion.
Okay.
So there may be a small difference, but I don't think it's a huge difference in taxes anymore. The bigger taxes were the PJC taxes, which are going to be applied anyway to the county.
Sure, I understand that. But the property that you referred to that it would provide an island, that's the property that's been abandoned for years. And I have pictures on my phone. I wish I'd have printed them out. But basically, I'm not trying to get the owner in trouble, but I mean, it's code violation after code violation. There's electrical lines laying on the ground. I mean, there's tires stacked up against my property. There's buildings collapsing and falling down. It's rodent issues. There's drainage issues. It's my understanding that even the water lines are too small to support fire hydrants. So, I mean, I don't see any benefit.
Well, how does the council, Mr. Frierson, you have a question?
Not really just a question, just kind of a statement, if I'm reading this correctly, that in 2016, the city of Paris taxes were $1,600 paid by him.
Okay.
It was the city of Paris, so it's not just to cut. I guess you just built a new house.
Yeah, it's not a drop in the bucket for me, for sure.
Well,
yeah, okay, so it will affect him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
So.
I didn't realize that's the amount. I thought it was a much smaller amount.
wish it was.
Well, what does the council want to do? Anyone has any questions first?
Couple, how long have you been in the city?
This property or before? I was out at Wildwood for years.
This property.
Okay, this property, we built this house 1.5 years ago.
And how long is the property?
The
itself been in
property, we
city?
bought it 2 years ago, I believe, maybe.
This appears to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
been
yeah.
annexed in 1997.
Okay, so it's been in since '97. Are there any plans currently to get any city services out there?
Not to my knowledge, we provide, of course, all city services except for water and sewer there, so,
Okay.
so those
Is-
two are not planned.
Is this part of the area that, Andy, that the rest of the road, did they get de-annexed? a couple years ago?
I think the Clifford building there on the corner at one point
Are
was
you on
de-annexed.
that same side, or are you on the
Yes,
other side?
I'm on the north side.
Okay,
Yeah, the whole south side was de-annexed.
right. They were in and they all got disannexed a few years ago, several years ago.
Correct.
Looks like 1999, but most of what's directly across Cobb Branch Road from him is still in the city limits, according to this map.
Yes, my in-laws'
This on the
property.
south side? No, he's on the north side. Were you talking about the north side or the south side is in the city limits?
Well, the turquoise is what's not
Okay.
in the city limits.
Okay.
So this is still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, if I could be annexed by Reno, I could possibly get into their sewer. I don't know, but it's more of an option.
The property that's just above yours on the map,
Yes, ma'am.
if we disannex you, doesn't that almost create an island?
That was the property that I referred to as being neglected.
But even though it's neglected, we still don't
Right.
want to have islands.
I've talked to the owner. It's been a little while. She's in a situation where it's just, I mean, it doesn't matter to her either way. She inherited it. You know, she's not going to go to the trouble to ask to be disannexed. It's just more trouble than what it's worth for her.
I know it, but from a standpoint of creating islands, I was just concerned.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think in the past we have avoided creating islands.
I understand that. That's why I'm bringing it up.
City, isn't it a legal requirement we can't create islands?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't,
And that's what
Well,
it's looking
it's certainly
like to me.
against our guidelines. I wasn't able to chase that down in state law, but it's certainly against our disannexation and annexation guidelines.
Now, when you say island, you refer just to the road itself? Because I know that my property doesn't go all the way to the,
No, it doesn't, but we've got this little irregular piece of property, and if it is distressed, and it's something we need to address, we've just avoided creating what appears to be an island.
yes, it's my understanding that the disannexation on Airport Road did present some islands in that case.
It did.
Yes, ma'am.
And
I
And then we-
don't think there are no islands created on Airport Road.
It was drawn up to create some, but we changed it around.
Yeah,
Can't
we
change
changed it around so that it was not, it didn't create islands anymore. I think part of the reason why we did it was because of that.
Yeah, you told a couple people no for that very reason.
Yeah.
So that they would be connected all the way down to the airport.
I don't know. I have a hard time with it because it kind of gets into what we've gone through before with that late 90s annexation grab, for lack of a better term, and we brought people in and we're charging them $1,600 a year, and we don't have any intention of giving them the full services. I mean, I understand the mechanics of water and all that good stuff, but we're not going to develop that.
I favored this annexation of all those properties before, and I would have favored this one too, but I think the problem with creating that island is a little issue which goes against our policy. And so, if it was not an island issue, I would say that, okay, that's fine.
we get the other property that you say that isn't interested or it isn't willing to do it, could we still, I think the council would, I may be wrong, but I think would probably go for it if the island disappeared.
I don't know that she's against it. It's just, I mean, I would have to take it to her and do all the work for her.
Might have to help a
And
little
I
bit.
know that at one point, she was told that by someone that the city was planning on providing her services. And so that's one reason she was a little bit hesitant. But if I were to go to her and do it myself and do all the work, I don't think she would oppose it.
I think it will be easier for the council to help you out with this if the other person was with you on this. I mean, I can't tell you how the council will vote at that point, but I think it's a little bit of a hard thing for me to vote for it, to break the rule that we have created ourselves, that we will not create an island, and then go back and say we're going to create an island. Excuse me, 1 second. Sorry, I had a hospital call. Can I take the liberty from behalf of the council to tell him to come back to us if the other person is willing to go with it? And then we'll reconsider the application?
That's fine.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. So that's the direction.
All right, thank you.
Are we to item 23? Yeah. Discuss development practices and procedures. I'll make a motion to untable this item.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Long presentation, short presentation?
We'll keep it short.
Okay.
As you know, development in the city limits and even the ETJ is kind of a complex process with many steps that a lot of people in the public may not know. So we've kind of summarized it generally in 10 basic steps. And I think attached to your memo is a flow chart that sort of will show an applicant how to navigate that process. Essentially, what seems like it wouldn't be the most important, but is probably the most important to staff, is the pre-application meeting. That's step number 1. There's no submittal involved with that, but it's really our first opportunity to meet with anyone in town who has a proposed development and hear what they are proposing, see what they want to do, and then give feedback on everything from available infrastructure to whether or not they have any zoning restrictions on the property or anything of that nature. It's kind of our first chance to discuss the proposed project. That meeting happens with city staff. That includes myself, the planning manager, public works director, our development coordinator, and the fire marshal. That way we can kind of provide a comprehensive comments and feedback early on in the stage to help the applicant know if their project is feasible for them. Step 2 is the first really action item on the developer's part, and that's submittal of an application and all supporting documents. And it really depends at that stage what type of project it is, but it could be an application for a zoning change or a variance that goes before the Zoning Board of Adjustments, or anything dependent upon that project. Step 3, we call it the Development Review Committee, but that's the staff that reviews the submittal. We take a look, we provide any feedback or comments that they may need to address before it's presented to a board. Step 4, boards and commissions. So at that time, we would take it before Planning and Zoning Commission or BOA or Historic Preservation Committee, any necessary board that is required for that project. And then step 5 is where we get into the submittal of building plans and site plans, and we really get into the meat of the development building permit. Steps 6, 7, and 8 can happen concurrently, but at that stage is where we look at the public infrastructure that's required to support the development, so water and sewer extensions, street construction, anything that's required on the developer's behalf to support their development. We also review the building plans themselves. We don't do that in-house, but we orchestrate that and provide any comments for code compliance at that time. And then we can issue the permit, and once the permit is issued, then the contractor is responsible for contacting the city to schedule inspections, and we handle those as they are ready. And then at the end of the project, when they're ready for their certificate of occupancy, then a final inspection is done by the building inspector and the fire marshal. And hopefully at that point, everything's done and compliant, and we're ready to issue the CO, and they can go about their opening their business. So it's kind of a long, drawn-out process. Generally, it's I put weeks along the bottom to indicate this is not something that we can do in 1 week or 2 weeks. It could take from 4 weeks to 12. It really depends on the size and scope of the project. That's sort of a best case. It's developer driven, and that's sort of the typical plan of attack to help someone from start to completion of their project. I'm happy to entertain any questions.
I have 2 comments. The first comment is, which we faced recently, which I think privately we have discussed, is the fact that if there are times when people have had pre-application meeting, and then later on the one inspector says one thing, another inspector says another thing. And so I think that needs to be streamlined so that whatever has been quoted the first time around, we stick to those rules so that it doesn't happen that after the fact somebody comes and changes, because that causes a lot of heartburn to people. Yes. So I think some record of such meetings need to be kept, that this is what we had said, that if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, that you'll get to item number 10, so that it doesn't happen that when you reach item 10, you are said that go back to item 1 because somebody else made a mistake on it. I think that needs a correction. And number 2, on a separate note, with still development process and procedures, I'd asked Mr. Godwin, and I think he's probably working on it, the tax abatement for improvements. We had created the regulations, but the way to apply the policy procedure and the way to apply for it was not clear. So that needs to come out, that this is the way you, because what has happened is after you finished the project, if you apply for it, you can't get it. And then again, it causes problems to the people that, well, I was told that there's a tax abatement, but I can't get it anymore because I didn't inform that I was going to do it. So that needs little further things in it.
Okay,
and I think the third thing that I would say is that at some point, there needs to be some form of a grandfathering clause that supposing that after the meetings, really the ordinance does change, that it's not just that we said something else and did something else, but once that is said, that property is grandfathered into it.
Yes, sir. We try to be consistent. In some projects it's hard, but I've been here about a year, and we're trying to improve these processes so that a lot of the projects that were caught in the middle are wrapping up, and so hopefully that'll improve this year and then the next. So the projects that were on the books, when we were doing things one way, will be finishing up, and everyone will be starting with the same.
We finally got a building inspector hired too, and that should help. Having the one person, as opposed to you don't know who's going to show up because we're using a contract company.
And I think there's some positive comments about him.
Good.
Yeah, from
I think
people
he's
that
turning
he
out
has visited.
That alone will help a lot.
Yeah. Any of the council members have any? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir, are you waiting for a particular item? No, okay. Item number 24, discuss and act on renting large trash containers for cleanup along the West Trail de Paris. Ms. Lancaster, did you put this on?
I did.
Okay.
In my travels along in District 2, checking out different problems, streets being a major one, I traced the trail that's being built, the West Paris Trail, and found horrible conditions on both sides. I wouldn't send my child down that street. We have dilapidated buildings that have been tagged for years. We have trash that's piled up from washing machines that gave up the ghost some years ago. And what I wanted to start in my district is a major cleanup, especially along the trail, but not just the trail. And I thought we would start, I have some people interested in joining with me, that we could start with a large trash container, something we can put that trash in. Now would be a terrible embarrassment to this city to open that trail with the conditions on either side and branching out, in my opinion. So I encourage the council to release enough funds to cover a large trash container.
I like it. We're working codes out there really hard right now. and including houses, but a lot of stuff that needs to go away. Some people don't clean up the mess because they don't want to. Some
Yes.
people don't clean up the mess because they can't. If we give them a free place to put it, as opposed to send them code letters that they have no choice but to ignore, that's more than meeting them halfway. So yeah, I like the idea a lot. It is a mess. We're building a nice trail. You want people to use it. So
You do.
I think that's a good idea.
I just would put myself in the place of someone having a child walking to school that way and saying, there's no way.
Is the council generally in agreement with it?
I mean, if John
Oh.
says it's a go.
All right,
Right.
sounds good. I do want to say one thing which is a little off, but the place where they're building the road on Pine Bluff, they're doing a beautiful job. That road looks awesome.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It really looks fabulous road. Okay, anyway. Item number 25, we've already done. Item number 26, discuss the holiday sanitation school schedule for upcoming year.
I request that be put on there. I've had several people that have contacted me personally, email, called me, have even posted on Facebook about the sanitation schedule for the holidays. And I passed out to all of y'all. City manager emailed me today at my request the holiday schedule for the city. And I highlighted in yellow the actual holiday and in blue the day that might be observed for a holiday. And then looking at the different zones, Zone 1 loses 6 days of trash pickup.
Yes.
Zone 2 loses 3, and Zone 3 loses 6. And another comment that was made to me was, everybody's paying the same amount where we don't get the same amount of trash pickup. So I told them I would bring this to the council and bring this to the city manager to maybe possibly look at. And another problem that has arisen since I asked to have this put on was like on Friday when service was canceled because of the weather. That trash is still sitting out, and I don't know if there's anything that can be done that the next working day they go in, because now there is trash that has blown all over the streets of Paris, and some of those are major thoroughfares over in my district because it was trash pickup for Zone 1 and 3 on Friday. So I just wanted to bring this forward. I am not, and I re-emphasize, I am not against a city employee getting their holidays and spending time with their family. But I really wish it would be something that we could possibly look at for some alternative solutions on getting this trash picked up, because there's some days that people go 5 days without a trash pickup.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just something I wanted to bring to see if there was anything at all that we could look at to possibly.
Yeah, we'll bring you some alternatives.
Yeah, and then and one of the things too that someone brought up to me about Friday, if they aren't, a lot of people don't have landlines anymore, they have cell phones. And so if they haven't signed up for the alert system with the city of Paris, they didn't know there was not going to be any trash pickup on Friday. So it's just some different things maybe we can look at with social media or different ways to get that word out to people besides that call-out tree. I mean, it's just some things that I would like to sort of put into the basket for us to look at, and because we're working so hard to do Pine Bluff and clean up and do this, and then when something like this happens and people's trash is sitting for days and days.
Okay. Yeah, the only parameter that limits us a good bit compared to a large garbage company, for example, is that's our labor supply.
Right.
And, you know, years ago when I worked in Rowlett, and we had, I don't know who we had, but if something like that happened, they just called in a crew from, you know, Boise, Idaho, not that far, but they get somebody from Dallas or from Denton or something and make them come work in that town for that day. But we'll come back with some ideas. We'll visit about it, and we'll bring it back to you next council meeting. And if you have any ideas specifically, you know, let me know those too. Yes, ma'am.
At one time in the past, we had a sort of a makeup day on Wednesday, and that actually worked pretty well.
And something else, just, you know, maybe this might be a time too for us to relook at our
schedule.
Well, the schedule plus our recycling.
Yes. Mm-hmm. How is that doing?
Doing curbside collection, recycling, or just?
Yeah, that too, just to see.
Yeah, and of course,
I mean,
recycling
myself
is a way to
personally,
reduce
I
it.
would pay for a container to be at my house.
Yeah, okay. We'll come back with something.
Just different things to sort of look at.
We'll try to
and
get
think about.
creative on how we
Okay.
can handle it.
Another problem I've noticed that there, as we get renters into different areas, that they're not aware of what the trash day is. And they'll, for instance, my trash day is Monday and Friday. Well, they may put it out on Tuesday, it's gonna sit there till Friday, because they don't know. Yeah, I try to let them know around me, I don't want their trash because it'll blow all over the place. But I'm sure that happens all over the city where they actually don't know the schedule.
Maybe something we can add to the water bill or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll bring it back.
All right. Item 27, discuss and act on a resolution appointing 2 alternates to the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Most cities have 5 regular members and 4 alternate members. And the reason you do that is because the Board of Adjustment typically meets very irregularly, and they talk about a subject just one time. So if you didn't go to a meeting for the last 3 times, you're just as qualified, and so forth and so on. And the reason you do that is you want to have 5 at every meeting. And so the normal process is you call your 5 regular members, can you be here tomorrow at 11 o'clock? And if 2 of them say no, then you just go to the next person. It makes it a lot easier to have a meeting. It makes it a lot easier for your meeting to be successful. That's especially important because a lot of our things we do here it takes 4 votes to approve certain things. Well, if you have 4 people show up, then one person has the authority to tell everybody no on everything that comes before them. And I don't know, they might like having that kind of power, but that's not the way it's supposed to work. So we're just suggesting 2 alternates instead of kind of the traditional 4. But in most places in Texas, it's 5 and 4. So this is not, what we're doing now is very unusual, not changing it. So we're asking you to change it to 5 and 2, and then appoint someone. We have only 1 applicant, I guess.
That's right, we've only had
One
one
applicant so
applicant.
far. And if you do approve this, we would ask you to go out and recruit somebody of a high quality to be on that board. And it may be, sometimes you're an alternate, they don't call you for a year and a half. But it's great to have somebody on the bench if you need them.
Anyone has any objections to it?
No.
Okay, consider it done. So you have 1 applicant,
Yes, one
I do.
applicant,
and that is,
Chris Fitzgerald.
She's on the airport board?
Yes.
Right, yeah, okay.
if he's the only applicant, I'll
Yeah,
make
and
a
can we
motion.
get a motion since
I'll
it's a
make a motion.
resolution?
Second it.
Okay.
Great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No.
Great, thank you.
Item number 28, I've not missed anything, right? Okay.
No.
Item number 28, consider and approve future events for city council, city staff. I do have a question on this one. Can we bring that bank building again on the agenda, executive session, or however it needs to be discussed? Because I see the fencing around it, so I want to get an update on what is.
Okay, we've also got some stuff completed as of today too, we need to report to you on anyway.
Okay. Is it something that is urgent that requires us to meet sooner than the next meeting?
I think it'll keep 2
Okay.
weeks.
All right.
Is that his fence or ours? Or can I ask?
Ours, we're renting it, because we had some concerns, there were a couple police people that almost got run over, we were told, so we thought the barricades are just
Might
not
be
enough.
better.
Yeah, so we're just making sure it's really
Because I'm
secure.
worried that it only goes up not quite to the 2nd story, and I thought that thing's gonna start
Yeah,
falling, it'll fall from the top.
The biggest problem on the, not to get off on, since it's on the
Yeah,
agenda, but
it-
on the south side, there's concern that the sidewalk will cave in. So that's why we put up a good fence there.
Is that their?
I think we're going too much.
Yeah, I think maybe we're-
I'll ask that
Item. So-
question later.
Why don't you email all of us?
Okay.
An update on that, and
Okay.
so that we are aware of it.
Okay.
All right. Item number 29.
I had one other thing.
Oh, what do you have? Sorry.
I even slowed down.
I just wanted to invite any of the council members and city staff.
Dinner at your house?
No, Lord, no.
Snacks?
In the
snacks?
first week of February, starting on February the 6th through the 8th, we are lucky enough to have the annual Texas Student Crime Stoppers Conference here at the Love Civic Center. So we're very fortunate that it's coming. I'm on the committee for that, and I would encourage anybody to stop by and visit with these kids and their sponsors from across the state of Texas.
Good, thank you.
All right. Could you put it so that if the council is in attendance, it's marked as a?
Yes, I will.
Okay. All right. Item
So
number.
Second.
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 Anybody?
No
I
second.
second. I second.
I'm leaving. I don't know what you guys are gonna do.
Did you make it to the football game?